Morning, everybody.
Good morning, Rabbi.
This week's Parshas Pinchas, we have a very, very interesting story as well. That the daughters of Tzlavchad, there was a man, his name was Tzlavchad, he passed away, and he only had daughters, he did not have any sons. And according to Jewish tradition, according to the halacha, it's the boys, the sons, are the ones that inherit their father. So their question was, what happens to them? They wanted to have a piece of Eretz Yisrael. They were soon going into Eretz Yisrael, and they were not married at that time. Usually, once a woman gets married, her husband takes care of her. He makes sure whatever he has, that's where they're living. So they went to Moshe Rabbeinu, and it says, "Vayakrev Moshe es mishpatim lefnei Hashem." And Moshe Rabbeinu presented their case before God. So what does it mean? Moshe Rabbeinu presented their case before God. So it's explained that there are four things that Moshe Rabbeinu, when he was asked these four things, four different situations, he did not know what to answer. It says, Nelma halacha Moshe. Moshe did not know what the halacha is, or at least he forgot the halacha. V'shal aleim as pi Hashem. He asked God, Ma dinam, what's the case? What's the law for them? Ve'elahem. And these are the four that the four cases. First case is this case that we are speaking about now. The girls, they wanted to know what the din would be if they're entitled. They wanted to get a piece of the land of Eretz Yisrael, and they did get. Hashem said yes, they get. And if the person does not have any sons, so then the daughters, they take the place. The second story that we know is about Pesach Sheni. There were people that they were impure. They were not able to participate in the Karban Pesach. And really, they were off the hook. They really didn't have to do anything. They're fine. Hey, you tell me. What are you going to do? But it was not good enough for them. They wanted to participate, and they asked. They said, maybe there's something we can do. Why should we miss out? And Moshe Rabbeinu says, I don't know. Let me ask. And he went for Hashem. Hashem said, okay, Pesach Sheni. That's how you have a second Pesach. If you didn't sell all the matzah you could sell it on another day. But this is something that, this is another thing that you have. You have a second chance. Then you have two stories of two different situations. There's one person that came, Hamagadif. He went and he started to curse out God. There's a story like that in Vayikra. So Moshe Rabbeinu didn't know what to do. What do you do with this guy? What are we supposed to do? So he put him in jail, and he said, let's wait this out and see what Hashem's going to say. And then you have another person that was Mekoshesh Eitzim on Shabbos, that he went and he started to desecrate Shabbos in front of everybody. So these were two situations that he had to deal with. So the first two stories, Moshe Rabbeinu right away, bam, he went to deal with it right away. You had a question? I'm going to Hashem. I'm going to take care of it. We're going to find out what the answer is. But the last two, Moshe Rabbeinu was like, okay, whatever. Let's relax. Let's see. Tomorrow, yesterday, no rush. What's the reason? So it says the first two was a positive thing. They wanted to be part of Eretz Yisrael. They wanted to participate in a Karban Pesach. Moshe Rabbeinu says this, so right away I'm going to go to Hashem. Right away I want to try to see what we could do for you guys. But the last two was already a little bit, there was a negative. They were getting a punishment. For a punishment, Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't running to punish them. Let's try to see what we could work out for them. So this is a very important thing also in our lives, to know what we have to rush for, and what sometimes we have to take a step back. That's one insight. A second thing is, we talks about the karbanis. It says when you're buying a Sefer Torah, if you're buying a used Sefer Torah and you want to know what the value of the Sefer Torah, so when you buy a car, you look at the miles. They didn't roll it back, right? You look at the miles, you look at the tires, you see what's used. So when you buy a Sefer Torah, you got to look at this week's Parsha, Parshas Pinchas. Because this is the most used Parsha. Because every Rosh Chodesh, you got to roll it to this place. Every holiday, that second reading for the holiday, is in this parsha. So Parshas Pinchas is the most used parsha throughout the year. So whatever the Sefer Torah is like ruined or bent or whatever, this is the place where it's going to be the most used. So in this parsha, it talks about all the holidays. So it also talks about also a little bit about the karbanis, and it says, "Sakeves achad taseh b'avoker, ve'sakeves hasheni taseh ben abayim." It talks about the Rosh Chodesh. Talks about making one sacrifice in the morning and one sacrifice in the evening. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe says a very interesting thing. You have to connect to Hashem. You have to have karbonis. You have to, we have to offer sacrifices. We have to have our connection to Hashem. There's one in the morning. There's one towards the evening. What's the difference between the morning and the evening? The morning is beautiful. It's bright. The sun comes up. It's light. It's very easy to serve Hashem. It's great. Everything is good. But there are points in our life that's bein abayim. It's like twilight already. We're dealing with things. It's getting dark in our life. And you have to be able to find it within yourself at that moment to be able to serve Hashem also, to connect with Him, and to make it happen. Now I just want to conclude with a story. There was a yid that he came to the Apta Rav, Shua Heshem Apta, and he was a great rabbi in his time. And he started to pour out his heart. He has this problem and that problem, and it was pretty bad. Really, he was dealing with a lot of difficult things. And the tzaddik listened to him, he heard everything he said. And after that, he gave him brachas, and he also gave him advice what to do. After everything was done, okay, he gave me advice, everything is good, everything is great now, it's going to work out. He's about to leave the room, he calls him back and says, I want to tell you something, I just want to put things in perspective for you. You should know that even after everything you told me, and after everything that, not to take away from what you did, there's something worse that happened today than all that you told me. That the sacrifices in the temple were not able to be offered. That we're missing. You have difficulties, I have difficulties, but there are difficulties that we have on a global level between us and God that we shouldn't forget about them either. It means we have problems ourselves, but if someone has a splinter in his hand, you can't move. But if you look at it perspective of what's going on in the world, it's nishos like a ferlach, it's not so bad. So we have to see that on one hand we have our own issues and things that we have to be worried about and to deal with. But at the same time, we also have to remember the bigger picture. There are other things that we also have to be worried about. Hashem should help. We should be answered. All our tefillahs should be answered. All our prayers should be answered. We should be zoiche to the time of light and joy and happiness and peace. B'karav with Mashiach Zakein and B'karav Mamish. Amen.